let's just sew whatever. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be cutting out the Lauren tote. That's not it. This is by me. I designed it. I did it. It's me. Hi. I am using my templates from that template shop. Super excited. This is a fun one, but an interesting one, so just keep that in mind as you're cutting, that it's not like your typical pattern. The lining comes together interestingly. So within the zipper pocket panel piece, there is the additional cut list for you to follow, and that template shop lasers on the back, so you can use this as a little checklist and mark off as you go, which is super fun. So we've got our main panel here, and then lining panel 1 and lining panel 2. So I've seen people have an issue because they cut 2 of these out of the lining, and it's designed to only have like 1 seam in the bottom. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might be cool to try and make a divider for this bag, maybe adding like a divider hack. But if you really want to avoid that, you could avoid the lining panel 2, and you could cut out your lining and exteriors the exact same way, and then you'd have your bottom seamed the exact same as the exterior. It's whatever you'd like to do. So I've got my bottom panel here. I always designed my patterns to be really easily cut with a ruler, so I don't use my templates as often as I'd like. That, and I don't make a lot of my own patterns lately, just because that's not, the videos aren't, it's not what the videos you guys are looking for are. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We do have the little marking for handle right there, 5 inches in, 1.5 inches down. Super handy to have all those registration marks. This pattern is very much like a choose your own adventure. It is a very simple pattern that can be amplified in many different ways. So definitely read over and figure out how you would like to make it before you get started. I believe this is 18 wide, so it should be able to be cut out of a roll of vinyl pretty easily. If you are wanting your crossbody strap, if you're making one for this bag, to be cut out of your exterior fabric, cut that first, and then you're going to want to cut your exterior panel a little bit differently, of course. But I am using this but mid-weight vinyl that I carry on my website. It has like a really fun luxe backing, so we're going to use this today. And then for interfacing, again, that is up to you. If you want it to be a little more structured, I would definitely add Decaville Light. If you want to add some puff to it, you could add some foam. Just make sure that you keep that out of the seam allowances then, especially if you're using a domestic machine. So I've gone ahead and cut out my main panel, and then I'm just going to trace my notches. And this just helps me add the bottom panel later. And then you could even save these little cutouts for zipper pulls if you wanted. I'm just always thinking of ways to save on those scraps. I may use the new Lofty foam, or Lofty, I think it's Lofty fleece from Fabric Therapy on this, because the vinyl, well, no, I don't know. Decaville Light just has such a nice structure that it's hard to resist using that. I really need to change my blade. So oftentimes I like using Decaville Light. You can also use So-Fuse Plus. That one's really good for adding structure and is really affordable. If you prefer to cut this on the not on the fold, you can measure your center and then cut the other side. And now you know where your center is. You also don't have to follow the way the bag has a top closure. So again, it was created to just be a super quick sew, but if you wanted to, you could make it like a drop-in lining and add like binding around the top. You could do a zippered panel instead of adding the top zippered closure. There's all kinds of options. So there's my exterior main panels cut. So I'll save this. I need woven interfacing and a non-woven interfacing. So that would be like using an SF101 and a Decaville Light or 809. Just something to add extra structure, especially if you're just using a cotton woven. And then my lining panel, I just need one of those. So I'll hold on to that and put it in my pile of lining fabrics. I did want to mention that that template shop is also carrying templates for just pockets. So if you make a lot of bags and you don't necessarily follow all of the instructions, you could buy some zipper pocket templates and easily cut out pockets of any size. So I think they have the small one and a large one. I'm not being paid to talk about these, but I worked with them to kind of develop them. So I wanted to chat about those, but this pattern does have a zipper pocket in the template pieces, so I will go ahead and use that. And I'm going to grab my exterior vinyl. This is an Ace glitter vinyl off my website. This one is definitely domestic friendly, but it could be sticky. So make sure you're using a walking foot. It's definitely not like your normal glitter vinyl. It's amazing. I love it. But I'm going to cut one of these out of vinyl, and the measurement is given on the pattern piece, so if you wanted to just use a ruler, you could. And then there are markings for your purse feet. If you want to add 6, you can add 6. If you want to just add 4, you can add 4. I actually had somebody email me and they were like, I've never in my life only added 5 purse feet to a bag. You always need 6. And I was like, I think we can all do whatever we'd like, but it's just a suggestion. So there's my bottom panel, and I definitely want to cut out a stabilizer from that. I'm probably going to use Decaville Heavy, but you could use Peltex if you'd prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my heat press, and I'm going to check my additional cut list and see what else I need. So like I said, this is very much a choose your own adventure. So it says or. So if you want 3/4 inch handles, you want to cut it to that. If you want to add 1 inch handles, cut it to that. And then I developed a dual strap connector that takes a 1 inch connector but a 3/4 inch handle, and then you can also use that to just quickly attach your crossbody strap. So whichever you want to do, it's totally up to you. I think I'm going to do the dual strap connector because I like the feel of 3/4 inch handles. So for that, I'm going to want 4 2x4 connectors. So I'm going to grab a couple pieces here. So I cut this to 2x8, and that's one section. Then I'll cut another to 2 by 8, and then I'll just cut those in half. Unlike the Emily bag, this does not have side crossbody strap connectors. It could, but with the way the top zipper is attached, it's really difficult to sew those in place. So I wouldn't say that I recommend it. I would add them another way if you can. And then while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and tape my connectors. I'm just adding a piece of tape in half. And if you want to, you can sew your connectors first and then top stitch them on the bag. If you do that, I would recommend top stitching them like 1/4 of an inch in, and then top stitching them onto the bag at 1/8 of an inch around the connector. Okay, so then I will get my handles cut, which would be 3 inches by 24 inches. And of course you can make the handles whatever length you would like, but 24 inches is like my preferred handle size. And that's going to be a good like shoulder bag for most people. But you can go up to 28 inches, I would say. And probably as small as 19 inches. I don't know if I would do 18. It would just be really small. If you do that, you want to make sure that you're distancing your connectors on the front of the bag appropriately, because you don't want it to look off center or anything. Okay. So I've gone ahead and cut this to 6 by 24. And then I'll cut 2 of these 3 inches wide. And then after that, I'm going to trace the center line and add some tape. So the center of a 3-inch wide strap is going to be 1.5. So that's where I'm adding my mark. And then depending on your machine's capabilities, you may not want to add double-sided tape. You may just want to try to clip it, but I am going to tape these. And then again, depending on your size of tape, you may want to add 1/4 inch to the ends, etc. I'm going to use 1/2 inch wide double-sided tape just straight down the center. And I've done this probably 40 million times at this point, so I can eyeball it. And then I'll peel that up and just tape it into the center. But I want to wait until I'm actually sewing it, or it may not hold that long. Who knows when I'm going to get a chance to sew it up. So I've got my handles, my handle connectors. And then it's pretty much whatever you're thinking you want to do. If you want to add a zipper overlay to the lining, you can cut that out. If you're wanting to add any kind of fun accents to the top of the bag, I did one. It's been so long, but it was like a fun swoopy overlay on the bag. I don't think I could draw it out, but I cut it to 18 inches wide and then just kind of whatever measurements. So let's see. You're like, cool, tell us more. So let's see. It was probably 4 inches. Yeah, I think I cut it to 4 inches by 18 inches, and then I cut it at 2 inches until the 4-inch mark. So I cut a 2x4-inch square off of each end to create that kind of fun shape, and then I knew exactly where my strap connectors would overlay it, and it just added some more structure, kind of broke up the print. I don't think I want to do that on this bag, as fun as that would be. That would be a really great way to also use accents of vinyl and have the main print be a cotton, and then you could do even hidden strap connectors on the bag if you wanted. Really, there's endless options. Let me just continue to confuse you. Love it. Thanks. Okay. No, I think I do want to add a slip pocket. So I've also made a little note. If you want to add a slip pocket out of waterproof canvas, it would be 18 by 7. So 18 wide by 7 tall. And then if you wanted to make it like a cargo slip pocket, you would want to cut it to probably 21 inches by 7. And again, that's with waterproof canvas where you don't have an edge that's going to fray. Otherwise, you would want to do 2 pieces, 21 by 7, and probably not add much, if any, interfacing. So I think I will do a zipper pocket overlay. I'm going to do nine and a half. Yeah, I'll just do, yeah, we'll do 9.5 by 2. Why not? And then I'm making 3/4 inch lines there, and then I'm just gonna rotary cut from line to line 3/4 of an inch up. And then carefully snip to the line and then across the line. Perfect. And then any of those extra little lines, I can just use a lighter to kind of seal off and keep the raw edge from looking a little funky. So there's that. I guess we can move on to cutting out our lining, etc. Okay, and for the lining, I am using a waterproof canvas, so I'm not going to need to add any interfacing. And then I'm going to grab lining panel 2, and again, this is just cutting one piece on the fold. Okay, so that's one piece. So I'm not going to need that one. I need my zipper pocket piece. I also don't need my bottom panel, but I do need lining panel 1. And in one of my videos, someone asked why I haven't peeled my template. And honestly, the biggest reason is I don't care. But then also, like there's these pieces that are cut squares, and I didn't want to lose them. I don't know. I'm just weird, okay? Just weird. Okay. There's my little corners cut. Yes. I'm really debating, like, could I add a center divider to this, but I don't think I have the mental capacity to do it right now. Okay. Alright, so this was all cut out of a 1 yard chunk. And it literally just took half a yard of fabric for the lining. So this is such a quick, simple bag. I love it. So much. And that's my zipper pocket. So I can just keep all of my lining pieces together. I don't think I'm going to add a slip pocket to this one. I don't think it's super necessary. That, and then it would take more than half a yard of fabric. So then we can just move on to cutting out the interfacing for this bag. Alright, so I've had my heat press warming up for a little bit and it's ready. So I'm going to cut out my stabilizer from Decaville Heavy. And that is going to be 4 by 12. Yeah. And then I have a plan for another one, so I'm going to cut this out while I'm here. So then to press this, we're just going to center it along the bottom. You can use double-sided tape to help you hold it down or kind of warm up the interfacing on the heat press a little bit before you press. And then again, I'm debating on interfacing for this. Ugh. Okay. Got that. Okay, I'm gonna do SoFuse Plus. I have a ton of Decaville Light, but SoFuse Plus is just so much more affordable. So that's what we're going with. That, and I feel like it's a little more flexible if you leave it within the seam allowances. And that is what I'm gonna do. So all I'm gonna do is cut this panel, which would be about 12 by 18. So if you wanted to keep it out of your seam allowances, you would cut it to 17 by 11. And again, I'm using a vinyl, so that's why I'm skipping the woven part of the interfacing and just doing a non-woven interfacing. And once that's pressed, that's all that I need to cut other than my zipper tape to get that ready. And then depending on how you're installing the zipper, you'd either want to add zipper tabs or just use the zipper end hardware. But yeah, I'm just going to interface this to the entire exterior panel. Ooh, yes. That gave it a really nice structure. I feel happy with my decision. So like, you can see the structure it has now. It's curling a little bit, but that's just from the heat. Make sure you leave it to cool. But that's it. That's literally it for the Emily bag. We've got our exterior pieces, our lining. This is such a quick pattern to cut and sew. I hope you will join me eventually to sew that one up. If not, I do have another video where I make it. Let me know down below if you've made this bag, if you want to try it and just haven't. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later. See you next time. See you next time.